I found you there on the sidewalk at a city street intersection. In the earliest hours of morning, at the farewell of night, traffic lights changed to make way for cars that weren't there. Fitting to meet at crossroads where paths cross, only never to meet again. You stood perfectly still, head down and sheltered by a hoodie against the drizzling rain. Hands in pockets, sneakers on your feet, lips pursed on a shadowed face. You looked half my age, but something in the way you stood there, silent in the unnatural stillness, tethered my mind. In your hand was an envelope, the very same as the ones I'd received for years. Even though there wasn't a car in sight, the little red pedestrian told me I couldn't walk, so I stopped and asked who you were. "We'll get to that in a second," you said. First, you gave me the envelope. The misplaced familiarity startled me. It had a clean fold, and imprinted in the seal, as always, were the letters T.A. No one knew what I had received in the mail all those years, yet there you were, handing it to me in flesh and bone. Inside was a sheet of paper. Written on it, in familiar, perfect print, were the words, "The End." A drop of water blotted out the ink on the page, then another, and another. The skies opened up, and I stuffed the paper in my pocket as it began to rain in earnest. You didn't move. You sighed. "Was that it, then?" I asked. "No more envelopes? No more instructions?" "No more," you said, still looking at your feet. Your voice was strangely clear, even through the downpour. "Every story has its end." You reached into a pocket and pulled out something cautiously, carefully. A book. One so thick that I wondered where it had been hidden among the folds of your jumper. Across its leather-bound cover, I saw my name written in that same fine print, and beneath that, a chronicle of his life and death. You didn't speak for a long time, just opening the pages and watching droplets turn the paper pulpy, washing away the ink. Letter after letter ran onto the pavement, but you kept turning as words I would never read disappeared. When you reached the final page, you paused, leaning forward to shield it from the rain. You glanced at me, your gaze distant, before returning to those last few words. With an air of tiredness, and in a voice weighted beyond your years, you read from that page. The man stood in a downpour, side by side with the stranger as he waited for the green of a traffic light. The stranger knew the man better than he knew himself, but their exchange was terse. He gave a poor explanation for things that had transpired, but he could not explain himself any further. The man could only listen in confusion, then cross the road. The path he took next was his own, and no one, not even the stranger, could follow. As the last of the ink fell to the ground, you dropped the book. The cover had already begun to deform, the lettering distorting to unreadability. Across the road, the red pedestrian stood perfectly still, a lone bystander. "I'm sorry," you said. "Eyes still on that book discarded by your feet." "For what?" I replied. "I'll tell your wife myself, and the child, a child!" "Tell them what?" Again, you paused. There was resignation in your eyes, and a sadness, too. Your words laboured from your lips as if muddled by the rain. "Just remember, please. Try to remember." You went on to paint pictures with your voice, raindrops of canvas. In that haze, I remembered. Old friends, a mother's smile, a father's laugh, a wife's embrace, the feel of a child's hand wrapped around my finger. Love, lust, ambition. The beauty of a world I'd long forgotten. Everything that would lead me to face you at a city street intersection. Then, the stillness caught hold once more. Purgatory at the edges of thought, and all disappearing. The memories were already slipping away, dreams to the woken, ink running down sodden pages. My chest thumped with each drop. I hadn't even said goodbye. I wanted to ask why, what, how you knew all of that, and perhaps I would have, if I hadn't been so scared of the answer. Instead, I asked again, "Who are you?" Death to some, life to others, but to many, just an author. You paused, then smiled, rueful. "I guess it doesn't really matter, does it?" You extended your hand. I shook it, then, 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 The red pedestrian turned green, finally signalling for me to cross the empty road. I didn't look back, but I knew if I had, he would have been gone. As for where I went, well, not even the author knows where his characters go when their story ends.